Hello, I'm Brian Bourne. I'm with Scalar Performance, and I thought I'd share a little bit today about how Scalar came to be. So my background's been all tech, IT, cybersecurity, but from a young age I was racing motorcycles, and then over the years done a lot of lapping days and some club racing with cars. And when I sold my tech companies, I got back into auto racing. And that was when I met Joel Flays. So Joel was an engine builder, a drifter, just a general race car builder, and great mechanic. And we ended up going endurance racing together and building some pretty neat race cars. And then, as time passed, we started to come up with ideas for business. The real pivotal moment for Scalar was when we were at the PRI Show. PRI is a performance racing industry show in Indianapolis, and it's just a massive convention center full of everything from rows and rows of pistons for LS motors to big triple turbo tractor pull motors and all sorts of great car building stuff. What really drew us in was the EV space. It looked like that space was definitely in need of maturing, but there's some real interesting technologies emerging. And certainly for myself as a tech guy, I love new technology and I love motorsport. And for Joel, performance is king, and there's some real great performance benefits that are to be had there that just haven't been explored yet. So after going to PRI, we came back and we started to think about what we'd seen there, what we'd learned, where we think there's market opportunity. And really, if we look at kind of our experience in motorsport at the club level, and when I say club level, I mean the folks who are out racing for the joy of it, not as a profession. There's not been a lot of innovation in that space, so we felt like that was a great space for us to focus on. It's a great market. It's the market we want to be in as like club racers ourselves, where we could bring things like live telemetry to the market, where we could bring a race car to the market that didn't need a lot of maintenance, that you could literally plug in between your race weekends or between your races and just go racing and worry about things like your own racecraft and driver improvement and chassis setup and suspension setup and all the things that it seems that when we go club racing we never have time for because we have some kind of fueling problem or ignition problem. And I know it's not just us, because we hear this from a lot of people. So we wanted to see what kind of innovation we could bring to building a race car that just worked. So when we started to look at what's the opportunity or possibilities in the EV space, we really started to realize the immaturity of the market. It seems like there's so many OEs, manufacturers are coming out with street cars in the electric space, and you think the market's more mature. But a combination of a lot of that stuff is very much commuter vehicle based, or even the performance vehicles like things like the Tesla Plaid, 1,000 horsepower, which is great, but that runs in second quarter, and it's only wide open throttle for those 10 seconds. If you think about the demands of road racing, it's wide open throttle between the corners, and really the reverse of wide open throttle relative to the battery packs of maximum regen going into the corners. So nobody's really built a vehicle that can take those abuses at this point. So that was one of the things that we learned along the journey. And so when we looked at how can we get this car together in a reasonable amount of time, we reached out to a network of great partners. Suspension, we couldn't think of anybody who knew suspension better than Öhlins out of Hendersonville, Swedish company, but one of the largest suspension manufacturers. So they were able to build custom suspension for this car. While it's a GR86 chassis and the suspension pickup points are in the normal places, the valving is totally different, the spring weights are very different. The weight distribution in our car is not accidentally the same as a Porsche GT4. And so very different than a factory GR86. So that's one example of a partner that did engineering with us. Certainly one of our largest engineering partners is Hypercraft. You can't just walk into a dealer and say, I would like a crate engine. But Hypercraft has the expertise in building EV powertrains, so they've been a great partner for the engineering front of the EV powertrain. We worked with eTractive, because it's a very unique gearbox in the Scalar SCR1. Like many EVs out there, it's a direct drive single gear unit. But of course the packaging is very unique. We run rear wheel drive, just like every sports car should have, but the motor's stacked above the subframe, and it goes through straight cut gears and gear reduction into a torsion limited slip diff. So the torsion limited slip diff is actually a limited slip diff that comes out of a GR86 or B or Z car, but with the gears and the straight cut, they add to the race car sounds. Nothing sounds more race car than straight cut gears. So we were really able to bring a lot of great engineering partners to the table to make the business happen in a short period of time. Challenges. How do you want to say them nicely without throwing people under the bus? Actually, that's pretty much what I want to say. So I think the real challenge is that for how much everybody thinks that they've done this stuff already, they're like, I've all built an EV powertrain. We have the inverters, we have the vehicle control units, we have the battery management systems. This is no problem, just take this stuff. We found that that's been a bit of a ways from the truth. Because of the stuff I was talking about earlier with the demands of road racing being so much different than the demands of street use, it's really the case that nobody has done what we're doing outside of really Formula E. And so the demands on the components and the subcomponents in the EV powertrain are, showing where there's room for improvement. And I think some of that was a steeper learning curve than really all of us expected. So we're still working through a number of those engineering challenges towards the goal of a car that just works when you go to start it every time. So future plans for Scalar, certainly we want to get the SCR1 developed to the point where it's very safe and very easy to use for anybody. And that's still got a bit of a road ahead. But as we're going into that, we recently just spoke to a mining company who's noticed the work that we're doing in the motorsport space. And a lot of the safety innovation that we're applying to the EVs in the motorsport space so that it's a safe race car also can be applied to EV scenarios outside of motorsport. And certainly mining would be one example. So we're looking at places where we could apply the technology. But really right now we're focused on getting this car to market and building out the motorsport business. As we look towards the future for Scalar, we're starting to see more opportunity. As we're building the technologies to make this car go around the track reliably and safely, those technologies have many more use cases. And so we're starting to see more doors open for us, and we'll continue to see where the road goes and what doors continue to open.